Hey, we've got 5 homesteading questions that will kick you in the tail feathers. Make sure you watch till the end, though, because we might have a bonus question for you. Hey, thanks for joining us here at Celtic Roots Farm. We're excited to share these 5 questions that are going to help us in the upcoming year.
If you're enjoying our videos, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel.
Don't forget to hit the bell notification so you don't miss any upcoming videos.
So why are we asking ourselves these 5 questions? For us, it's to refocus, for discipline, accountability, and forward movement.
So first question, what would you like to achieve by next season?
So the first, most important thing is to get the greenhouse up. So this year, we had planned on getting the greenhouse up, but we made some mistakes. We waited to the last minute and we tried to cut some corners, which you don't do. So it never got assembled.
Yep.
Lessons learned.
All right, so the second thing on the list would be, I would say, the garden layout.
Right.
Just having a better understanding of our property and where we want to put things and what's really going to work best for us as far as just ease of moving things around.
Yeah, right now we have a 60 by 50 foot garden that I planted in most of it this year. Probably, I'd say maybe a third of it didn't get planted in just due to my inexperience with rotation. Then we have the seed greenhouse, which is 20 foot by 12. And we plowed up the area where the greenhouse would be, which is 20 by 100. And then a second additional area on the other side of the small green seed house, another 20 by 100. So those were the main areas we planted in this past year. But we're looking to expand a little bit in the garden area.
Especially because we're hoping to do market gardening for farmers markets, right, and expanding into some local stores and things like that.
Right. And we're also trying to trying to decide where the best place for our orchard is. Right now we have 6 apple trees that we planted a couple of years ago. And we're actually looking to put in probably, I would say, what would you think? Like another...
I'd like to do a lot. I mean, I'd like to do a whole big section, but I think I'd like to do a variety of pear and apple, right, and right now the paddock in the back of the property is kind of in the way, so we're actually thinking of getting rid of that,
right,
and using that area for our orchard.
And that's a pretty big area. That's probably a good 2 acres back there.
All right.
And so we could put in, if we wanted to, 100 trees back there.
Yeah, it's not cheap to, put
no,
those in.
No,
we're talking
right,
probably
right.
$30+ for each tree.
Right,
so
right.
Unless we can find a wholesaler or something, mm-hmm, like that. Mm-hmm. But right now, I think 6 trees. I mean, they're still small. They're dwarf trees. One's really cool. I like that has like 5 apples on one tree. So I'm looking, right, forward to seeing how that turns out.
Yep. And then I took some classes for beekeeping. So we're trying to find an area that we will be able to put the apiary in. And I'm planning on having anywhere from 5 to 10 hives. Not initially, but in the future I'd like to have at least 10 hives, but starting out with just a few. So we're trying to figure out the whole layout of the garden area.
Right. So. Yeah. The next thing on the list, which would probably be in an upcoming video, mm-hmm, would be a chicken tractor, kind of the Justin Rhodes style. We really like the idea of being able to move the chicken tractor around the garden, the chickens being in there, tilling up the mm-hmm soil, free fertilizer. And so that would be something that would be, I think, really helpful with us also to be able to get the chickens out of our barn right now. They've been in there since
Right.
we've moved here, so.
They have a big stall though. It's a horse barn, so the chickens. We have about 25 left, I think now.
Yeah.
That are in there, but it'd be nice to get them out of that and get them. And these are our egg layers, and get them onto, the garden areas where they can actually do some work for us.
Right. So that's something that we're looking forward to building and doing for another upcoming video.
Right. So the next thing that we're hoping to get done for the upcoming season is getting our grow list together. Mm-hmm. Last year I sat down and I figured out what we wanted to plant, and they were mostly things that we enjoyed eating.
New Jersey Silver Queen corn.
Yeah. However, we have to think on a broader scale if we're looking to go to farmers markets. So we need to look. I really need to sit down, and I actually just got my Baker's Creek seed catalog in the mail. So I have to sit down and go through that and figure out what we are going to grow this year.
Right.
So that takes a little time to do that, and I might do maybe a little video of how I do that and where we're going to put things and how the rotation is going to be.
Yeah, and really not knowing what sells around here because we've never done it, that could really change a lot by next year after we kind of learn what's selling, what's not selling. So it's definitely a learning curve that we have.
Yeah. And that can lead into the next thing that we're looking to try to achieve is to make those connections with the community, with the organizations that run farmers markets in our towns, and the local farming community, where we can kind of get some of that information and ask those questions on what's, besides, we know tomatoes and cucumbers and lettuces, those are all really popular things that people grow, but what other things in this area are good sellers?
Right, microgreens.
Right. Microgreens are pretty popular in this area, and most areas at this point.
Large animals though.
Oh yeah.
We've been talking about that for a while. It's not that we didn't want to do it.
I would have 50 goats and at least a dozen cows running around by now.
Right. It's very difficult with being that we're both working full time.
Right.
And everybody keeps telling us goats are, escape artists.
Yeah.
And so for us to not be here, our neighbors would be going nuts with the goats eating, everything in their front yard. So yes, but goats. We've talked about pigs. Mm-hmm. The one thing we'd like to do is possibly get a couple pigs to breed. Mm-hmm. And then just keep a couple for ourselves to root up things and clear some areas. I know goats are good for that too, but
we have a lot of areas on the property that could benefit from goats and pigs. We have 25 acres here, and we probably have about 10 of those acres that are still wooded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then partly wooded. They were what's it called? They were logs, but they weren't stumped. So the stumps are still in the ground.
Right.
So it'd be really helpful to have some pigs in there to help kind of turn all that up, and goats to eat all the wild, briars and berry bushes and things that are invasive in this area.
Right. The big thing for me, I've always loved the Highland cattle. It's something long term. Hoping it's not going to be too long term, but we'd love to get the Highland cattle. And even possibly the minis for breeding purposes.
I think that's a pretty hefty list of things we want to achieve.
Right.
But which leads us into our second question.
Oh, we don't want to forget about our social media.
Oh yes, that's right.
We want to continue growing our channel, putting our content out on Facebook and Instagram. We really appreciate everybody's support and encouragement thus far. So a lot of fun. We're still learning all the tricks and things of the video editing, and
he's very good at it. I'm not so good.
I need her to get her starting her own video stuff. So, but so far it's a lot of fun.
We're having fun doing this. So we definitely want to grow that and be a little bit more consistent on Facebook and Instagram, as well as on YouTube, and hopefully get more videos out.
Yeah. So the second question, what's the first step you can take right now? It's a pretty important question because this actually forces you to take action and move forward.
Right.
So, so what can you do right now as you're sitting here watching our video? What can you do right now or today to make these things start taking steps to move in the right direction?
Right.
So, one of the things that we realize that we need to prioritize.
Right.
And even after looking at our list of the first question, we have a lot of things on our list. So we might need to shorten that list. We have a lot of, pretty big goals and things that we'd like to do, but we just know it might not happen. So we need to say, okay, focus in on what really needs to, what's our most important,
And for us, how we're going to do that is we're going to formulate a plan. We're going to plan. Well, first we're gonna say, okay, this is priority, and how are we going to do that? And we're going to make a plan for that. And a plan for us is going to be including our time, materials, our budget, and then continued discussion about, because even though we have a list of things that we think are important to us, it may switch, and that happened last season too.
Right.
We had some things that we thought we absolutely needed to get done, like the greenhouse. That was top priority last year.
Yeah, and it kept getting moved back, and
there were reasons for that.
Right.
We wound up getting extra chickens that someone couldn't, so we had to build more chicken tractors. So you have to continue to discuss those things and then do your research.
Yeah.
There are so many things online that can help you if you're trying to get your garden together. There are so many online programs that are free that you can go to and figure out how, if you've never done a garden before, how to put, how many of a certain variety needs to go in a row in your garden. So there's a lot of information out there, so you can look that you can get online and just do your research.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and having a farm, having a homestead, you really need to know how to do these things and not rely on other people to help you. Although the community is really great at helping and stepping in, you really need to be able to be self-reliant. And I didn't know how to fix a lot of different things. I replaced a washer and a dryer. I didn't know how to do that before, but we went on YouTube and researched and was able to fix it and save ourselves a bunch of money.
Right.
Same thing with working on the tractor. I really didn't know how to do that, but was able to figure out by watching videos and doing some research. So any little bit definitely helps.
Right, exactly.
So number 3, what is the biggest compromise you are willing to make? I think for us, it comes down to 2 things.
Yes.
Time and money.
Yes. And I think that's for a lot of people too, because when you're starting a new business or a homestead, you really have to take into consideration your spending, what you can afford, what you consider extras or leisure, activities. So those are some things that we are going to be focusing on when we sit down. We're going to actually sit down and look at our budget to see what is going to make the cut this year, because we're going to need some money for some of these things that we want to do.
Yeah. You don't realize how much money you're spending too. I mean, a couple dollars here, a couple dollars there for coffee in the morning, or for sandwiches, or for snacks, things like that. Someone keeps reminding me to not spend so much time at the vending machine at work. But
that's going to take...
That takes some planning. So we just need to go to the store and make sure we have the things that, instead of buying it in the vending machine, save some money and buy it in bulk, or however you want to do it, or make it yourself. That's even better.
Right. Yeah. So spending and time, we're going to need to look at how much time we're spending on things.
Right.
We do like to watch TV. We don't have cable. We have internet. We have...
Someone's addicted to some YouTube channels.
I do spend some time watching some YouTube channels.
All homesteading channels.
I love Justin Rhodes. Big family homestead.
I
could go on. There's probably at least a dozen that I watch every day. I have to watch them. And Lumna Acres up north from us.
Right.
Al.
New Hampshire in the house.
So time's going to be another thing, you know, that we're going to need to really take into consideration what we're doing in our leisure time. Right. And that's not to say that we're not going to have time that we're going to spend for us. You know, we like to go out. We like to have a date night. We like to go and see our grandkids. Yes, we have grandchildren. I know we don't look like it. We like to visit with friends. And, you know, so those things are still going to be factored in. It's just, especially in the springtime when we're limited to how much free time we do have.
Right. If you come to visit us, be prepared to
work.
Be put to work.
Yeah, exactly. So those are two of the main things that we're going to need to really be willing to compromise on.
Yep.
So question number 4 is, how will you measure success? For some people, a checklist works. I like checklists. I like lots of lists. You don't. I know. I like to make lists for things that I need to get done. And I feel a sense of accomplishment when I put a little check next to it. Right?
A little gold star.
But for other people, it could be more of reflection too. For us, it's reflection as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, how do we feel at the end of the day? I mean,
right.
You know,
did we put in a hard day's work? Do we feel like we put in a hard day's work?
Are we burned out?
Right.
Are we? I don't know if we'd say, are we having fun?
Are we having fun?
It's supposed to be about fun.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
Making sure that we're having fun.
Are we allowing for downtime, which we kind of talked about before?
Right. Be able to spend time with family and friends.
Right.
And they can come and help us too. So.
Yeah. And financially, I mean, how are we putting out more money than we're making? I mean, right now we're not making a whole lot of money, but we are making some. We're selling our chicken and our duck eggs, so.
And then we sold
maple syrup,
and we sold
our chickens too,
and our chickens too that we harvested.
Our meat birds.
Yeah. So you have to, you know, kind of look at that. Those are you know, things that we find that will be helpful for us to measure our success.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of looking back at what we're doing, getting a sense of how we feel, and, you know, looking at our finances too.
Right. Yeah, giving back to the community too. I mean, you know, people that, you know, might not be able to afford to a meal or things like that. You know, fresh fruit, produce, or chickens, or you know, we've given out some things for free, and you know, it's good to be able to do that and help people that are in need.
It's kind of a selfish thing for us because it makes us feel good.
Right.
But it's something that we like to do, and we measure that as success for us too.
Right. So for number 5, who are the key people in your network of support? Mm-hmm. And for us, we've pretty much relied on neighbors, friends, family. I mean,
local farms,
local farms,
local farmers,
yeah,
organizations.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that I would say if you're just getting into homesteading or farming, is look at your state's farming organizations.
Mm-hmm.
Look into them. They have a lot of resources available. You know, your local farms, you know, we sometimes, you know, shy away, or we have some kind of a, you know, issue with pride to ask for help. And we're all in this together. We're all trying to, we all have different reasons why we're doing homesteading and farming, but there's so many people out there that are willing to help.
Right. Yeah. We've been overwhelmed with different people that you know, helped us move equipment. Let us borrow things. People that we really didn't even know let us use when we were processing our birds, all their equipment, because we didn't have any. Right. And they're like, oh, just use ours until you can buy your own. So I mean, you know, it's very humbling, and it's really cool to see how people can just step in and really make a difference. And those, you know, it might not seem like a big thing to them, but it really makes a difference when someone does that for someone.
Yeah.
Bonus question.
Oh my goodness. All right. So bonus question. How would you describe your current or previous season?
big learning curve?
Yes, that would be the overall. Yeah, we learned a lot. We learned a lot about time management. It's never enough time in the day to do everything that you want. We learned, well, I learned a lot about growing food on a larger scale. Because I've always had gardens, but they were small. You're more just growing food for you, me, and the boys. We have 2 boys. And so now, last year, I grew in a 50 by 60 foot garden plot.
Well, initially, I think we were planning or thinking we were going to do a farmer's market, so we went a little bigger, and we didn't actually end up doing that. Right. Which I think is probably a good thing.
Well, we had a lot of issues. We learned a lot about pest control with that larger size, because I never really ran into issues with like stink bugs and potato beetles. So there was a lot of things that we were learning on how to maintain a garden that big, as far as, nutrients for the soil, water conservation, and then the small greenhouse. I did grow some things in our small 20 by 12 greenhouse. So I had to learn how to grow stuff in a greenhouse. I never grew anything in a greenhouse before. Temperatures are, not everything likes to be 100 degrees.
Right. Even with the sides rolled up, we were amazed how hot it still stayed inside the greenhouse. So we need to figure out, we were talking about changing a few things, adding a couple fans and maybe some vents, things like that, but we didn't really think we were going to need it just because it's such a small greenhouse, but we definitely need it.
Yeah, definitely. And then one of the biggest things I think we learned was how to process the chickens.
Right, that was interesting. That was not fun. I mean, I appreciate having food in my freezer, but I did not enjoy that at all.
We grew enough food for a year for us, my son's family, and my mom and dad.
And sold a bunch.
So we wound up recuperating pretty much all of our money back. But it was definitely a learning experience. I knew it was something we could do. We just didn't know how.
Right. And like I said, once again, that the friends and family, different people stepped in to help us process. The neighbors that we just met, they lent us the equipment. So
so it was definitely overall a huge learning experience for us this past year. And I say it was very successful, even with the things that we didn't get done.
Right. Yeah. It's like I said, it's disappointing when you don't get to the things you really want to be able to do. Well, the one thing I forgot we did, we changed up our maple syrup setup. We were doing the first time we did it, we were doing it with buckets, and which is fine. It was just a lot more work. And the last time we did it, we ended up running lines.
Yeah.
And we had
that was so much easier.
50-gallon barrels at the bottom of the hill and collected from all the trees. And I mounted the barrel to a pallet, and we were able to move that with a tractor. Night and day difference.
Yeah,
it made such a and we were able to get a lot more syrup out of it too.
We did.
So,
but we definitely learned a lot. I would say that I would say it was successful.
Yep.
And we learned a lot.
Yep. Looking forward to seeing how the next season 2020.
2020. Today's New Year's Eve. This will come out sometime after the New Year.
Yeah. So Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yes. So we hope that these questions help you out. And we hope that you were able to gain some information from our experience and from the steps that we would take in doing, achieving some of these questions.
Right. Or our inexperience.
Too, yes.
Right.
Well, anyway.
But we definitely gained a deeper appreciation of the farm and how hard it really is to do, but at the same time, anybody can do it. If we can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And that was kind of one thing that really held us back from, moving forward and actually getting a farm. We were just like, we don't know what we're doing. So, but want to encourage you guys to go ahead and do it. Just start, even if it's in your backyard. Just do it. I mean, it's really rewarding in so many different ways, and especially if you get to spend every day outside with the person you love and get to work side by side and so.
Who, me?
No, I was talking about Joe.
Oh, okay. for watching, guys. We look forward to hearing your comments and any questions that you have. We'll try to get back to you as soon as we can.
Leave them in the comments below, and that's it. That's it.
All right, guys. Take care.
See ya.